Okay.
Now, there's a guy that's been making the news the last couple of weeks. It's going the opposite direction. Whereas Newt Gingrich has been shooting his mouth off, you know, about how much he loves the state of Israel, right? By the way, never said anything about Jews. He just says the state of Israel, right? There's a man out there who's running for president who's, the more we discover about this guy, the more anti-Jewish we discover. You know who I'm talking about?
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul. I think we need to discuss him finally on this show.
Okay.
I'm not going to pull any punches.
Okay.
I'm not going to pull any punches with this guy. This is Ron Paul. I first got wind of him, right, when State of Israel was being rocketed, right, by Gaza. This was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago? They were being rocketed by Gaza continuously, you know, and what do you want to do? Just sit there and take it? Yeah, go ahead, murder and maim our kids, murder and maim all of our innocent Jews. What are we supposed to do, right? So they went in and tried to defend themselves. They didn't need to have to explain or apologize or rationalize or justify or defend why they needed to go into Gaza.
Right.
You're being attacked, you go and attack. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have to explain that we have a right to defend ourselves. You defend yourselves, and anybody who has a problem with it can go fuck themselves, right?
Yeah.
So Ron Paul was the one congressperson who came out of the White House, of the Capitol building that day and said, this is terrible that Israel's going in there. You know, they don't have a right to go in there. You know, there's just like a few rockets being shot out of what is virtually a concentration camp. And that was the first time I heard him say that. I went like, oh my God, this guy's like a fucking idiot. First of all, he's a moron because he doesn't understand the situation there, right? The fact that he would call it a concentration camp is reprehensible, right? Has anybody ever been to Gaza? They've got like, you know, fancy shopping malls and it's a strip malls and all this stuff. So it's not even... It's a joke to call it that, right? But to use the words concentration camp, which he once again repeated in his own private, well, you can find it on YouTube. He refers to Gaza and over, and I've also seen him do it on Fox News. He refers to it as a concentration camp, right? To say such a thing is to make a moral equivalence between what the Nazis did to the Jews in Auschwitz with what the Jews are doing to the Arabs over there. It is reprehensible to make such a comparison. This is the kind of talk that an anti-Semite makes. A neo-Nazi makes that kind of comparison. Okay? This is reprehensible and shameful. There is nothing close to this over there. But to make such a thing is to say that, oh, well, the Jews are no better than the Nazis, therefore we shouldn't support these people. And really that we should just defeat them the same way that the Americans defeated the Nazis. This guy is shameful and no Jew should ever consider voting for him. I already knew that back then. Right? Can I continue? I got more on this guy. But it's coming out now. Now it's coming out. Not only has he said that America should stop funding the State of Israel, right? Shouldn't have nothing to do with it and cut ties with it and you know, give the green light to Iran. He's actually said this. He says that he wants to stop putting sanctions on Iran. He wants Iran to build up its nukes. He just said that this weekend so that they can talk tough back to the State of Israel. He's on Iran's side. He said that he would not stand up for Israel if Israel got attacked by Iran. So in other words, Iran is welcome to build up its nukes, nuke Israel, murder 6 million Jews, and there'll be no repercussions from the United States. This is unbelievable what this guy is saying. You following this?
Yeah.
And folks, you can look this up. It's all on the internet. And then it came out. 2 different people corroborated the same story that he has said in public to different people in front of eyewitnesses when asked the question, would you, Ron Paul, if given this following situation, that you were president at the time of FDR, when the U.S. was entering World War II. If you were president back then, and it was known what we know now, that the Germans were gathering up all the Jews and putting them into concentration camps, would you, even though you're a non-interventionist, would you send U.S. troops to save the Jews? And he has answered more than one time, unequivocally, no. He would not save the Jews. He would not enter World War II to save the Jews. That's his direct quote. Any Jew that votes for this man needs a serious. You need to go to a psychiatrist. You need to get your brain looked at. It's reprehensible that this man is running for office in the United States. No Jew should ever consider voting for this guy. If he had his way, if Ron Paul had his way, instead of 14 million Jews living in the world right now, there might be 2 million Jews living in the world. And they would be secularized liberals and communists, and no one would have ever heard of Torah. And so anyone who hates Jews, doesn't want to see a lot of Jews on the planet, doesn't want Judaism to exist, you should vote for Ron Paul. He is perfect for you. Go ahead.
Well, I'll defend half of what you attacked Ron Paul for. He is consistent in that he doesn't want the United States to militarily intervene abroad. So I assume that you don't want the United States to militarily intervene to save Tibet. I assume that you don't want the United States to militarily intervene to save the people of North Korea from its government. I assume you don't want the United States to militarily intervene to impose democracy on Saudi Arabia, or to go into darkest Africa and stop the Africans from murdering each other. So there's nothing wrong with taking an ideological position that the United States should not intervene abroad. I think the United States should intervene at times abroad, but plenty of times I think the United States should not intervene. I generally think it should only intervene in its self-interests. And on occasion, I'm okay with the United States intervening for humanitarian reasons.
Right.
But you better be damn careful, because sometimes you just make situations worse when you go in there to intervene for humanitarian reasons. So I think the dominant guiding principle for United States intervention in foreign affairs should be the United States' self-interest. So I can kind of see where he's saying, where he's coming from in half of that, in that he opposes U.S. intervention overseas, period. So it's not just for the Jews or against the Jews. He doesn't want the U.S. intervening to save, starving people in Africa.
I did not say the people who aren't Jewish shouldn't vote for him. What was my direct quote, lady? I said a Jew cannot vote for this guy. A Jew cannot vote for this guy. If you're a kind of person that doesn't want to see, or if you're a goy and you don't want to see Jews on the planet, this guy's for you. Because if he had his way, there would only be 2 million Jews on the planet. That is a fact. Because the United States would have never intervened at all with Israel, with the Soviet Union, with Nazi Germany. And all the Jews that suffered in those countries would have continued to suffer, because of those countries would have continued to suffer, right? Soviet Union probably still be in power today. Ronald Reagan was the one who talked it down, right? With Ron Paul, he gives them the green light. Jews would still be suffering under Soviet rule. If FDR doesn't go into World War II, into Europe,
Germany, yeah.
Against Germany, Germany's going to wipe out all the Jews that they didn't reach. In Hungary and all the places they couldn't get to. Possibly even England falls, right? And Great Britain is gone. It goes on and on and on. Where would the Jews live? It's the few that got out, and that Hamas is going to take care of them. Hamas would take care of the ones that he would finish Hitler's job for them. Now you got Iran, and it would be fine. Go ahead, green light. There's only 14 million Jews. Half of them are living in the state of Israel. They'd all be wiped out. The ones in the Soviet Union would never have gotten out of there. The ones in Europe would never get. The only Jews on the planet who would be alive and know they're Jewish are the few that were in America before the war broke out. If that's the kind of thing that you want as a goy, you only want to see a few Jews, then go ahead and vote for Ron Paul. He's perfect for you. But if you're the kind of person that says, no, it's not good enough to just sit back and watch people get led to slaughter, then this guy is not for you. Because you're not a